You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
I've learned from this. I promise that, going forward, I'll accept, the will of the board and not get so heavily invested.
Appalled that a board member would do that to the board he's sitting on.
School board members texting insults during meetings, backbiting over who pays for school security, attacking the superintendent. What is going on? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the chaos at the Sarasota School Board in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. Last night, we reported an incredible story of animal hoarding and alleged abuse. Tonight, we go inside the home of a Northport woman being charged with aggravated cruelty to animals and abandonment. Deputies found 83 animals inside Shirley Duncan's home. Today, she invited ABC7's cameras inside the home and told us she has a history of mental illness and prefers the company of animals rather than people.
This was my life. Instead of being around people being used and abused, I built my life around animals, make sure they had a place safe.
Duncan is not currently allowed to be in the contact with any animal. Forget about sheriff's deputies. The Sarasota School Board is considering creating its own police force. The district says it's a solution for the increased need for security after Parkland due to the school shootings. The program would be phased in at the elementary schools and implemented at all schools by the end of the 2019-2020 school year.
There's a lot of unknowns. I'm a board member, and one of my responsibilities is obviously to ensure the safety and security of students, but I'm also I have a fiduciary responsibility to our taxpayers. So we need to make sure we have a clear eyes and understanding to the depth of this, because this is definitely a new task.
The district says the job descriptions for the internal security positions would be on the board meeting agenda on May 1st. Residents of a Venice neighborhood are voicing concern tonight about a police shooting range just feet from a public park where kids play. The range is located behind the police station within well-filled sports complex, and officers fire in the direction of the park's soccer field. However, Police Chief Tom Mattmuller says safety measures are in place. Officers use the range during hours where children are typically in school, and there is an instructor on hand during training. Sarasota Police Department wants your help to identify this man. He allegedly struck a pedestrian and drove away at a McDonald's parking lot on Washington Boulevard. If you have any information, you are asked to contact authorities. 2 local hospitals are still waiting for word on whether they can build new facilities: Sarasota Memorial Hospital and Venice Regional Bayfront Health. The Agency for Healthcare Administration initially approved certificates of need for each hospital, but the hospitals are contesting each other's proposals. Venice Regional wants to build a 210-bed replacement facility southeast on Jacaranda Roundabout, where Sarasota Memorial Hospital wants to move forward with a 110-bed facility at the southeast corner of Laurel and Pinebrook Roads. The Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System is one of the world's best workplaces, according to Gallup. SMH is one of just 39 organizations to win the company's Global Great Workplace Award. The award honors the world's best workplaces. The Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System is the county's largest employer with over 5,500 employees. Florida anglers will have a 40-day red snapper season this summer. That's a longer season than in previous years. Additionally, the 40-day season will apply to both state and federal waters.
Red snapper is definitely one of the fish that people come to Florida for. It's a fish, an iconic species that people love, not only when they go to a restaurant to have on the table, but they enjoy going out and fishing for them.
The snapper season is scheduled to start on June 11th and close on July 21st. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief angler, meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Yes, was out there today. Beautiful, catching a lot of spotted sea trout and some bluefish as well in the bay. Lakewood Ranch webcam on land here looking pretty good today too. Fair skies overhead. A little bit of a breeze, not much at all, but it looks like things are going to stay pretty quiet overnight as a result of a large area of high pressure which will dominate our weather. We'll see the possibility of some patchy fog. Currently it's 75. We have the sunshine around and the dew point temperature slowly coming back up now at 60, and the winds are out of the west-northwest at 8. The pressure at 30.09. That continues to rise. Temperatures will stay pretty warm tonight and to the mid-60s by 11 o'clock, so we aren't going to see the low 50s like we saw this morning. It got down to 52 degrees this morning for Sarasota Braden Airport. Right now it's 85 in Orlando, 75 now into Sarasota, 77 in Key West, and Miami checking in at the same. Big problem today has been the air quality due to the stagnant area of high pressure, which does not allow the atmosphere to mix. We had some high numbers, 105 at the Sarasota number there. That comes from the Sarasota County, and that's unhealthy, and that should say for sensitive people. 105, that means if you have some respiratory problem, children, adults, anyone out there, especially during the afternoon, the peak of the heat, that's when that ozone level is higher, and that's when it can cause some problems. We could see similar numbers again tomorrow.
And that's pretty dangerous.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Still to come, with all the backstabbing going on at the Sarasota School Board, is anything getting done?
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha guaranteed whole life insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think it up.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Feuds, fights, and name-calling. It has been a chaotic few months at the Sarasota School Board. Members butting heads, undermining text messages come to light, and elected officials openly bashing the superintendent. ABC7's Jess Dowdrick joins us now with the story. Jess.
Alan, first the district superintendent accused a school board member of sexual harassment. Then the superintendent and another board member got at it at a school board meeting. Now text messages are revealed showing the sheriff and a school board member bashing other board members. Everyone is at a point where they say they want to move forward, but with a lack of trust and the tension that recent feuds have created, that won't be easy.
Sarasota County Sheriff Tom Knight and school board member Eric Robinson exchanged more than a dozen text messages during the March 22nd school board meeting. The board in the middle of a disagreement about whether the district or sheriff's office should pay for school resource officers. Make us pay 100%, Robinson said to the sheriff. He followed up with an expletive.
I was trying to reach a compromise. I failed in my attempt, and my passion to reach that compromise turned into frustration, and I allowed my emotions to get the better of me.
The sheriff responds to Robinson. "I'm shocked that Shirley is so dumb." "I'm not," Robinson replies. Sheriff Knight wouldn't comment on the issue on camera, but said in a statement, quote, "When I began this dialogue several weeks ago with the superintendent and school board about the ramifications of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act, my concern was for the safety and security of children in Sarasota County. I regret that the story has become more about my text messages and has taken the focus off of our need to work together to implement a program that will protect our kids." Robinson admitting his mistakes.
I've learned from this. I promise that, going forward, I'll accept, the will of the board and not get so heavily invested and, not get so upset because, our actions create a budget shortfall. I need to be able to accept the will of the board.
This heated text message exchange came after Superintendent Dr. Todd Bowden announced that the district will be in a $3 million deficit because of the sheriff's office and other local police departments deciding to no longer split the costs for school resource officers. The district is getting additional funding from the state for these SROs. However, it's not nearly enough to pay for the officers in every elementary, middle, and high school. Robinson says he wanted to bridge that $3.1 million gap.
It's tough when you're passionate about wanting to make sure things are going to the schools, and when things don't happen your way, you need to be able to be passionate to a point, and then at a certain point you need to disconnect from that. I need to work on that.
Other board members are still taking this all in.
I think there's a lot of us that are in disbelief that a school board member seems to be working against the best interest of our school.
Brown was personally attacked by the sheriff in those messages, called dumb.
I was surprised. He always seems to act like he's my friend.
But for her, the most shocking text message was when Robinson told the sheriff to make the district pay.
Appalled that a board member would do that to the board he's sitting on.
Dr. Bowden wouldn't comment on the issues on camera, but did release a statement to ABC7. He says, quote, "Recently there has been a lot of negativity in the news regarding issues between me, school board members, and other government entities in our community. It is time to remind ourselves of the goal, which is to keep our students safe while at school and provide the best learning experiences possible for success, both academically and personally. But moving forward may not be so easy after all of these rifts."
I hope we can all sit down and work this out. I think I would have to hear something from the sheriff that would give me some indication that he would be willing to truly partner with us and work with us, not only on the financial aspects, but also partner and work with our security personnel so that it's a team effort, that it isn't us and them.
The school board did meet again yesterday. Robinson read a prepared statement apologizing for his actions to the board. Another board member, Caroline Zucker, also reading a prepared statement. She called for Robinson's resignation.
Jess, thank you. In the moment, the member of the Sarasota School Board targeted by the text messages, and the Herald Tribune reporter who has to cover it all.
CashNet USA is trusted by over 2 million customers.
Perfect. When I lean back, I trust that you will be there to catch me.
Okay, bad idea, bad idea.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Grab your grass skirts and Hawaiian shirts and get ready to party. I'm Stephanie Roberts.
And I'm Joey Panic. Join ABC7 at this year's island-themed Best of Sarasota Bash at Selby Gardens on Tuesday, April 24th. Sponsored by Sarasota Magazine and PNC Wealth Management.
Celebrate the region's best of winners with hula dancing, Mai Tais, and authentic island fare.
Get your tickets today at SarasotaMagazine.com.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific. They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
Welcome back. Grab some popcorn and your hankies. The Sarasota School Board meeting is on TV. You don't hear that every day. The drama is real. There is a new episode every week. Imagine that. The school board meeting is must-see TV. Emotions and tensions are running high, but the issues are not only real, they are a matter of life and death, like who pays to make sure our kids are safe at school in the wake of the Parkland massacre. But at this stage, do members of the school board have the ability to even work together? It's a fair question after it was revealed school board member Eric Robinson referred to some of his colleagues as dumb and stupid in text messages he sent to Sheriff Tom Knight during a recent board meeting. And joining us for more, our school board member Shirley Brown, who was the target of those insults, Elizabeth DeGinnis, who covers the school board for the Herald Tribune, and joining us by Skype is Kurt Lavarello, the executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council. And Shirley, let me begin with you, because Eric yesterday at a workshop meeting did make an apology to the entire board. This is what he said.
And I sent some texts that were clearly based on the emotions I felt at the time and were disparaging of other board members, and for that I'm sorry. I want to thank all the people who have reached out to me to support me during this time. I'm sorry, Jake. The experience has been humbling. I can't do it with Christine here. I'm very sorry.
Of course, Christine is his wife. He apologized to Jane, a member of the school board. Did he apologize to you?
He didn't have a personal conversation with me, and what you didn't show before he said I'm sorry is he gave an excuse for why he wrote those things about me. And, you know, an excuse is not an apology. And, you know, I say, well, you know, it doesn't matter. But, you know, even tonight when you're saying, repeating those things, it's like nails on a blackboard. I mean, I don't want to hear this again about me. Yes, it's troubling.
So sorry about that. But it's important for the people who are watching this night to have it in its proper context. Elizabeth, you covered the school board. Has there been tensions all along for the last year or two, or is this something new?
So Eric's only been on the school board for, I want to say, about 1.5 years now. I didn't cover it before then, so it'd be hard for me to say before that time, but I think that there have been a lot of tense meetings since then. I think that in the past it had often been, some of the controversy was more with Caroline Zucker, sometimes with Jane, sometimes with Shirley. I think that they had a set of training sessions that were about kind of bringing harmony to the board, and things improved after that, but now recently, especially after the referendum, I think it's been a lot more tense again.
Kurt, you are a former school resource officer. You're a former police officer yourself. This is your work, your career, your passion. Every school district in the country has had to respond after Parkland, and I would imagine you're thinking that this does no one, especially our children, any good when the debate about who pays for what devolves into this kind of back and forth.
Yeah, I have to tell you, with 25 years and working with hundreds of school boards all across this nation, I've never seen something stoop this low, and it's embarrassing that it's in my own backyard. To be honest with you, the back and forth between school board members is one thing, but for Mr. Robinson to be taking action that could actually impact the lives of our young people, is absolutely unforgiving. So as the school district moves forward, I think there are some real opportunities to make sure they do so, keeping our kids 100% in mind. And school district policing is not a bad thing. It's very successful around the country. I'm here in Reno, Nevada, working with a school district police department right now that's very, very effective in keeping their kids safe. And it doesn't involve the sheriff's department or the local police department, other than that as a partnership. But it's still, looking at what happened there in Sarasota, it's very, very troubling. And Mr. Robinson, I think, should resign.
All right, well, we're going to get more into your idea in terms of having a specialized police force, but surely the initial arguments and the insults took place over who pays for school security. In its infinite wisdom, the state passed a law that mandates that school districts have a school resource officer in every school, but does not offer all the money necessary to replace to pay for it. So now you have a dispute between the school district and the sheriff's office in terms of who pays for what. Are we any closer to resolving that, you know, given that the school district is talking about starting its own police force?
Well, when we're starting our own police force, it'll put the argument to an end after this coming year. What we're hoping is that the sheriff will come back to the table and be reasonable. We're asking our partners to continue our partnership for one more year at the level we were at, because even without the other security costs that we have, we were still running $643,000 short. Right. And we would be $5 million short at the way that the sheriff is proposed.
And I wanted to point out that we did reach out to the sheriff's office to participate in the show. But Elizabeth, quickly, is there any movement from the sheriff's point of view that you're aware of?
At this point, I talked to the sheriff's office spokesperson today, and they indicated after the board did discuss that they want to look at hiring this internal police department. The sheriff's office indicated that they were supportive of that. They're happy that the district is moving forward. I think at this point there's not really any concrete stance on how the cost is going to be affected.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on the Sarasota School Board right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
20 years ago, the moviegoers of Sarasota looked up at the silver screen and wanted something more. And they got exactly what they wanted. 20 years of some of the best independent films from around the world. The most iconic Hollywood stars walking the red carpet. The most glamorous parties in Southwest Florida. 20 years building up to the most exciting announcement in, well, 20 years. At the Sarasota Film Festival, April 13th to the 22nd.
Did you know you could get life insurance in just a few minutes? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with just a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, TruStage guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you. TruStage cares for you the same way you care for your family. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance, and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now. Any amount of protection can help, and you are guaranteed to be accepted. In just a few minutes, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Getting life insurance can be fast and easy, and it could cost less than you think. Plus, your price will never increase, and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now for a free, no-obligation quote. It's fast and easy. Plus, you get TruStage's 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-809-8372 today.
Our conversation on the Sarasota School Board continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Good evening, everyone. We're looking at a beautiful day today and this evening as well. It should be nice out there. Finally, the sea state has calmed down a bit as a result of the high pressure that's moved in behind that cold front, which brought us the much needed rainfall we had on Sunday. Well, that dry air has really moved in as well. Look at this, all across the Gulf of Mexico and throughout the Florida Straits down to Cuba and into the Caribbean. We are looking at no rainfall around here. It's going to stay dry too as a result of the high pressure ridge, which is pretty much right over the top of us. We did have a little sea breeze develop today. That kept temperatures a little bit milder right near the coast. Beautiful, upper 70s to near 80 degrees, but inland areas on that east wind warmed things up into the upper 80s in places like Wauchula, Arcadia, and even into Orlando today. It's 85 still there, but 10 degrees cooler near the coast with that little miniature cold front with the sea breeze. You can see water temperatures in the mid-70s now, and Bradenton at 77, Venetia at 75, Northport a few degrees warmer. And as far as the front goes, we have a cold front coming down. It's not going to do a whole lot. This is, again, the forecast calling for that front to fizzle out for the most part, but there'll be just enough of it hanging around to bring us some increasing cloudiness on Saturday, and even a slight chance for a few scattered showers. On Saturday, it's not going to be a washout, it doesn't look like, but we will see a little bit better chances for Sunday and Monday as a result of this low pressure area that will track across the lower Mississippi Valley and then eventually into the southeast on Sunday and Monday. So our best chance for rain over the upcoming days will be Monday, although there will be a few scattered showers possible on Saturday and Sunday. Currently 75 degrees, sunshine out there, and the dew point temperature at 60. That number's really bounced back up at 60 degrees. It continues to rise. We have a wind out of the west-northwest at 8, and the pressure now 30.09 inches. That's high, and our high today was 80 degrees, right at it. The low this morning was cool, 52, 10 degrees below the average. Well, a couple of things going on. That snowstorm that brought some snow yesterday is now out into the Atlantic. Another one, a quick hitting, a little low pressure area is bringing snow into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and even into northern Iowa tonight. And that snow is going to start picking up a little bit in Chicago. It's not a lot of snow, but nonetheless, they've had enough in their fair share as of late. Well, that snowstorm moves off to northern Indiana in the morning hours and northwest Ohio and down into central Ohio, Columbus, getting some snowfall throughout the morning. And that stretches into the western portion of Pennsylvania. But the news is it'll be mainly rainfall, but a cold rain it is over much of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and into Connecticut. The central U.S., so always quiet. Another major storm is developing down the road. This one here in particular will be a pretty big snowmaker. They could see up to 2 feet of snow in some of the higher elevations of the central Rockies there. Good news for skiers, a late season snowstorm. Still a lot of snow on the ground, though, into Wisconsin, Minnesota, and into South Dakota, stretching off into Canada. And then, obviously, the ski season has been extended due to this April snow that's been falling periodically over the past several weeks. Tomorrow's high temperatures will be in the 30s and 40s well to the north of Minneapolis, but 49 in Minneapolis, 51 in Chicago, and 42 in Cleveland, so temperatures will be moderating a bit. That cold air, though, will kind of stick around, at least cooler temperatures. We don't see any yellows or reds there, so temperatures will be staying on the cooler side, it looks like, over the upcoming week. Well, for boaters, tomorrow looks good. Southwest winds turn to the west at 5 to 10 knots. We'll have a light chop out there on the bays and inland waters. A 7-day forecast. Checking in is nice Thursday. Friday, a slight chance I mentioned on Saturday for a shower or two. A little bit better on Sunday, especially Sunday night and Monday. And then slight chances after that. Notice temperatures do not drop all that much behind that next storm, so things looking pretty good for next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
When money's tight and emergencies arise, CashNetUSA.com is available 24/7 to deliver quick loans for approved customers when they need it the most.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Welcome back. We're talking about whether the Sarasota School Board can get past the insults and the division, coming up with a plan to secure public schools. And joining us for more, our school board member Shirley Brown, who is the target of some recent insults. Elizabeth DeGinnis, who covers the school board for the Herald Tribune. And joining us by Skype from Reno is Kurt Lavarello, the executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council. Shirley, you know, the nature of our political discourse has certainly changed over the last couple of years. And look, whether you support the president or you don't, he calls a lot of people a lot of different names. So the question is, are we a little bit too sensitive about a school board member saying what he said to you? And there are a lot of people in the community who are upset about it. They're calling for his resignation. But folks look to Washington. That's what's going on there.
You know, Ellen, it's not the name calling that bothers me so much. It's the make them pay 100%. And it just seemed like there was something going on behind the scenes, because there was text messages the night before the meeting saying this is when we start. And then text messages when the meeting started, this is when they start. And those text messages that those names were being called didn't happen at the end of the meeting. They happened at when we first started talking. But to work against the best interest of your district, the board that you sit on, to me is unforgivable.
Right. But is there any actual evidence that whether it was Eric Robertson or Bridget Ziegler or the sheriff, that their plan was to make the school district actually pay 100% of the cost for SROs?
Well, you know, we've heard from people who have said that they got emails, messages, texts, so watch tomorrow, the readers are going to fall, and as soon as the referendum passed, that he was going to make us pay. But when we came to that meeting, that workshop where we were talking about it, Bridget and Eric were insisting that we cut our budget because the sheriff wasn't going to cover it anymore. Jane, Caroline, and I were saying, why? We don't believe, why would the sheriff cut our funding now? We were clueless about that. We didn't know. And apparently the superintendent was just told the day before, and he was, you know, wanted to talk to more about it also.
Elizabeth, what, if anything, have you heard about that?
So I think it was a confusing situation because, you know, I was at that March 22nd workshop board meeting, and everybody was kind of coming from different angles. So Sheriff Knight had sent a series of letters. I think the earliest one was dated March 15th, about a month after the Parkland shooting. And in these letters, he made some comments kind of implying that he was going to no longer split the cost with the district, but there was nothing that was set in stone. And I think that for some board members, it was confusing.
Kurt, you work with school departments and police departments all across this great country. What is the trend when it comes to who pays for what when it comes to school security and school resource officers?
Yeah, most of what we've seen across the country is a long-standing tradition of the school resource officer program having a split funding. It certainly is the majority of agencies that work in the state of Florida. It's always been that way because the benefits are reaped by both the school district and the law enforcement community that has an insight into the school. They're first responders. So, you know, the trend is certainly to split the funding. And I question the timing of this because it's coming on the heels of Florida's worst school-related tragedy in the history of the state. And keep in mind that the Sarasota County Sheriff's Department has been recognized as a model agency in school resource officer program across this country for years, dating back to Sheriff Hardcastle and Sheriff Bockwell. And Sheriff Knight, I know his heart's in the right place when it comes to kids. I've spoken to him numerous times. And so I have to look at the politics of Mr. Robinson and then go one step further and reaching out to county commissioners and trying to say that we can get them to back it. This just reeks of foolishness, and I'm hoping as we move forward, because it's still going to require the Sheriff's Department to be a partner, whether they go school district, police department or not.
Shirley, let me ask you two questions. Number one, if you go the route in having your own private security or police department with this, for the school system, does that basically make everything else irrelevant in terms of you're going to be paying 100% of it anyway? On the other hand, are the relationships here between you and other school board members and the sheriff's office so fractured at this point that it becomes difficult to work together in the end?
You know, I served 8 years in the legislature, and you know, you have difference of opinion, and you work it out, move forward. I sent an email to the sheriff saying, you know, let's leave politics and egos at the door and sit down and work this out.
What was the response?
He said, thank you. But, you know, I think now that he sees there's a way out for him, and there's a way for us to save money also, because we couldn't afford the 100%. And, you know, and I don't think they understand how the legislature has tied our hands in funding. You know, we don't get the increase in funding when property values go up. They blocked that for the last, you know, I think 3 years. The county and the cities do. And the legislature really ties our hands where we can get extra funding. And when they cut our funding this year, even though they gave us money, not enough to cover it, it was difficult.
Elizabeth, do you have any kind of sense of public opinion after this all happened here? I know a lot of people leave you comments to every article that you write here, but what happened in Parkland was not just traumatic to the people in Parkland, Florida. It was traumatic to people here in Sarasota and Manatee, throughout Florida, and indeed the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are upset. I think people, and I think there's two kinds of separate issues here. I think people really do want an answer on school security. You know, parents are afraid. I think that we've heard from so many students, especially during the March for Our Lives, that they feel like it's not fair. They have to walk into school and they might worry that they're not going to walk out of school that day. But I think that a lot of people felt that the comments Eric made didn't seem appropriate of a school board member, and I've seen a lot of comments saying he should resign, but you know, a lot of people just said he needed to make a public apology, and that's what he did on Tuesday.
After serving in the legislature, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of motions and anger, you know, boiling over at this point. In the final result, are you willing to just move on and with the other board members and try to get something done here?
Well, you know, I think it shows what happened, you know, after the Tuesday board meeting. The workshop is where these letters, these text messages started from. But at the March 22nd board meeting is when Eric went into a tirade after the superintendent, and he brought out the issues about the text, and they became public. But what the superintendent did, he continued to focus on safety. And I was exchanging emails with him, you know, that we need to work out. We need to find solutions to this. And that's what he did. I've got to hand it to him. He worked really hard to come back with a plan that I think is very workable.
And you've had other criticisms of the superintendent about other issues. There's been a lot of other things that have been taking place here with the school board. But, you know, Kurt, I want to ask you this. Our attention is focused in terms of putting, whether it's a police officer or a school resource officer in these schools from elementary to high school. And we do have situations. There was a situation in Maryland recently, I believe, where a school resource officer stopped somebody in a shooting. But is it proven that a single or one or two police officers in any school can stop a tragedy that we had in Parkland?
No, there's no 100% guarantees in that. We do know there are a number of incidents where school resource officers have not only prevented it when it's been occurring on site, but there are numerous examples out there of law enforcement officers, SROs, that just being, known to the kids have trusted them and come up and told them something, and they were able to prevent something. One occurred not too many years ago at Sarasota High School that could have been a major tragedy, but the SRO there was able to divert it because of the relationship he had with one student. So the program is been proven to be successful in terms of building those relationships, which we know are so important.
All right, Kurt, hold
and
on.
that's another thing.
We just have to take a
We'll take a break and I'll come back to that.
We'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
So, how many of us feel completely confident about our financial future? Let's hear some specifics. Yes, go ahead.
I don't want to be a burden to my kids. When my husband died, it took almost all of our savings to give him a proper funeral. I honestly don't know if there's enough to bury me, let alone cover expenses should something happen.
Okay. Let's talk solutions. One thing you may want to get in place is a guaranteed whole life insurance policy from United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, which is a Mutual of Omaha company. This is affordable coverage, which provides a cash payment which can cover funeral expenses, bills, and other financial needs. Most payments are on their way within 24 hours. Yes, sir.
I need medical exams, things like that.
No medical exams. If you're between the ages of 45 and 85, you can call this number or you can go online and apply for coverage up to $25,000. United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So Shirley, a couple of questions at one time. We have 3 minutes for everyone. Is the board moving towards this police force solution here? And if so, where does the money come from? And if you have your own police force, and I know that there are 3 questions here, are you going to lose what you need in terms of cooperation with other outside agencies like the Sheriff's Office?
No, I think we'll get more cooperation because these officers will be trained as school resource officers doing the kinds of things they need to do on a school campus, like the school shooters, but they'll also be able to be trained in some behavioral health. We're also going to be spending, with the legislature's dollars that are coming down, $1 million on behavioral health issues. That's the way it's supposed to be spent. I think all in all, our campuses are going to be safer. Plus, when we're doing the perimeter fencing, the interior fencing, the single entry points, the locked doors, the bulletproof glass inside, our schools are going to be safe.
Elizabeth, this proposal came up, I don't know if it was sudden, but it wasn't originally what we were talking about after Parkland. Do you see, the majority of the school board supporting this?
Well, remember, you have 5 members of the school board, so majority means 3 people. And yes, I think they have 3 people who are firmly in support of this. I think they have 2 people, Bridget Ziegler, who's the chair, and Eric Robinson, who are kind of tentatively supporting it. So I think this is the direction they went in the workshop, and honestly, it was a lot more fleshed out than I realized when I got in, and I think that this is really the way it's looking for next year.
Kurt, what do you think?
Well, parents need to know one thing, that school district police departments, if they're done correctly, can absolutely be a very effective means of keeping kids safe. There are several models of it around the country. The officers are 100% dedicated to kids, but I'm worried about the time span because they've really got to get moving on this if we're looking to do something this August. And there's a lot of unanswered questions with the partnership with the sheriff and local police chiefs. Who's going to pay for communications and who's going to pay for evidence and investigations and things like that. So I think everybody needs to come together frequently.
And is there also a liability issue, because we've had these discussions and we only have a couple of seconds left, that, you know, police officers need to be deputized?
No, they don't. They don't need to be deputized. They're actually going to be commissioned through Florida Department of Law Enforcement, like a college campus police department was. So it's not even a deputy program. It's a school resource officer in their own police department.
Okay.
And we look to Kurt to help us as we're forming this, and other resources out there.
Great way at the end to end the conversation. Thank you all for being here tonight. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And we want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Sarasota School Board member Shirley Brown, who was the target of some insults. We hope we're past that now. Elizabeth DeGinis, who covers the school board for the Herald Tribune, and joining us by Skype from Reno is Kurt Lavarello, the executive director of the School Safety Advocacy Council. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, the CIA director met with the leader of North Korea. Are we moving in the right direction? When we come back.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover one particular harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in-ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast weekdays on ABC7.
First off, breaking news, an officer-involved shooting.
2 officers have been injured. This is where police just took down the crime scene tape.
Weekdays starting at 5 a.m. on ABC7.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
CashNet USA is trusted by over 2 million customers.
Perfect. When I lean back, I trust that you will be there to catch me. Okay, bad idea, bad idea.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Stump Pass. This was just sent in of tonight's sunset. Beautiful out there. A few clouds off in the distance. Dane Hahn sending this one. Appreciate the photo. And as far as the Van Wezel webcam, coming up a little bit further north into Sarasota Bay, we can see beautiful conditions out there. Out on the water is a lot of blue skies throughout most of the afternoon. Here come those high clouds coming in from the northwest in advance of a weak frontal system, but not expecting any rainfall here anytime soon. 85 in Orlando, still warm there, 77 in Miami and Key West. Lake Placid at 81 as well. In Wauchula, temperature is almost 10 degrees cooler than that. In Cortez now, and Inglewood and Northport now at 76 degrees. The Gulf water temperature at 76. The forecast looks like this. So a little bit of high cloudiness around and maybe even a little bit of fog tomorrow. There's a chance for some patchy fog developing. And then here comes a weak frontal boundary, comes down and kind of pulls up stationary and just close enough to us and just enough to cause some instability in the atmosphere, which will bring us a little bit more cloudiness around and a chance for a few showers. On Saturday, that rain chance isn't all that high, but it's there. And then here comes that low pressure area. Not a very intense low for us. It'll be staying to our north. There will be a weak frontal boundary with it, but there's not much to it in terms of any cold air behind it. Will cool down just a degree or two, it looks like, and maybe dry out by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. 75 degrees right now. It's nice out there, and the humidity fairly comfortable at 60%. This number has come up, though, considerably, 60 degrees from earlier days. And the high today, as I showed earlier, 80 degrees, are right about the average for this time of year. And the wind forecast will be rather light and variable, and that will allow that fog to form. And we will see clear skies, light winds, and the temperature getting close to the dew point, which will allow for some fog. Not too bad tomorrow, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour, really, with a little sea breeze developing in the afternoon near the coast. We'll see temperatures there into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, mid to upper 80s east of I-75. Well, satellite and radar review showing one storm exiting off the northeast coast and another one gaining a little bit of strength now, moving through Iowa into Wisconsin and parts of northern Illinois tonight, where they have a freezing rain and some snow mix there. Looks like this will kind of pinwheel off toward Ohio over the upcoming 24 hours and bring some snow into places like Columbus as well as into looks like Fort Wayne will get some snowfall out of this. Not a lot, but just enough to cause those folks up there to go, when is this winter going to end? It's been an extremely long winter for them, and generally fair skies building in behind it for the northern plain states. But it will be on the cooler side, it looks like, over the northeast with that storm developing there. The temperature right now, 34 in Buffalo, 53 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures into the 30s in places like Detroit, as well as into Omaha, and temperatures a bit warmer down south. That's where the heat is right now, and it's not all that bad. Phoenix at 81, 77 in Dallas, and temperature of 83 in Macon, 77 in Mobile. Tomorrow's high temperatures will be in the 40s and 50s throughout the upper Great Lakes and the northern plain states. As far as the forecast goes for boaters, looks good, doesn't it? Southwest winds turn to the west in the afternoon, 5 to 10 knots, and seas running right around 2 feet. The extended forecast then calling for low 80s to mid 80s all the way through the next 7 days. And a chance for showers comes over the weekend, which you know it. A chance for showers 40% on Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday. Less of a chance on Tuesday and Wednesday. Alan will be right back after this.
The La Musica International Chamber Music Festival, the annual celebration of a distinctive cultural gem in Sarasota, with renowned musicians from around the world. April 9th through April 18th at the Sarasota Opera House. Visit lamusicafestival.org, click on Festival, open tickets, and get your seats now.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free. You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Grab your calendars. I'm Joey Panic. On Suncoast View, Van Wezel previews their new season with the shows you won't want to miss, from Broadway tours to the Boston Pops. The Suncoast Boat Show is here. We'll preview the show, take you on board a luxury yacht. Plus, Sarasota Music Archives shows us some amazing music memorabilia from right here on the Suncoast. And Three Keys Brewing and Eatery joins us in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Checking primetime headlines, a high-level secret meeting between North Korea and the United States. The White House confirming CIA Director Mike Pompeo met with the North Korean leader. ABC's Serena Marshall is in Washington with the details.
It's the highest level meeting between a North Korean leader and a U.S. official in nearly 2 decades. CIA Director Mike Pompeo secretly traveled to Pyongyang Easter weekend and met with Kim Jong-un.
I think Mike Pompeo will go down as one of the great Secretary of States. And by the way, he just left North Korea, had a great meeting with Kim Jong-un, and got along with him really well, really great.
The president made the comments while meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Abe and has said he hopes the summit would happen in May or early June.
A lot of hurdles have to get cleared before this actually happens. If it falls apart, a lot of people would be saying, told you so. But the president is determined on this, and I think dispatching Pompeo is a signal of just how serious he is about making this meeting a reality.
The White House said Pompeo's visit to North Korea shows the president considers him the nation's chief diplomat. Even as in the Senate, he may not have the votes to be recommended out of committee as Secretary of State.
He was nominated for the position before he was sent there. So was he sent there as the CIA director or as the nominee for the Secretary of State?
While others argued
dialogue has no downside.
I don't think people should be complaining about who's taking what meeting. That's just silly.
The president has said they've narrowed the possible location for the summit to 5 venues. A U.S. official said it could likely happen in Europe, South Asia, or even the demilitarized zone between the North and South. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Another problem on board a Southwest airliner after a terrifying incident yesterday where a woman died after an engine exploded in flight. This morning, Flight 577 took off from Nashville International Airport just after 5 a.m., but was forced to turn around minutes later after the plane struck a bird. The aircraft will be taken out of service to be checked out. The lights are out again in Puerto Rico. The entire island is without power. Officials estimate it will be restored within the next 24 to 36 hours. Hurricane Maria slammed into the island last September and destroyed the island's electrical grid and much of its infrastructure. 7 months after the U.S. territory is still dealing with an unstable power grid. 3 million U.S. citizens live there. The cause of the blackout is unclear. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.